We'd welcome that for sure. Thanks, Poppy.
Sure.
On Capitol Hill today, General Motors and Chrysler executives are defending their decision to close hundreds of dealerships across the country. They're telling a Senate panel that the moves can't be avoided as they fight to overcome bankruptcy. Well, lawmakers are concerned that thousands of people will be put out of work on short notice. Some of those lawmakers say Chrysler may be treating its dealerships unfairly. They've been given less than a month's notice that they will be shut down. But wait, there's another chapter in the big bankruptcy story. We're talking about people who've been hurt in their GM or Chrysler vehicle and are suing the companies. The bankruptcies could leave these plaintiffs with nothing. No case, no compensation, no justice, not even a day in court. People like Jeremy Warriner. He lost both of his legs after his Jeep crashed, rolled over, and caught fire. He's had nearly 40 surgeries, and his medical bills have crossed $1 million now. He claims that a proper Jeep design could have prevented all of that. He's in D.C. with other victims and families who've asked Congress not to forget about them. Jeremy, I appreciate you being with us.
Thank you.
Well, can you take me up and back and tell me what happened? Because from what I understand with regard to your story, that there was a period in time where you were going to be okay, and the car actually didn't catch fire until a little bit later after the crash. Could you tell us what happened?
Yeah, that's correct. My vehicle was struck by another driver on a county road and went off the road. In the process, I hit a utility pole and my vehicle rolled over onto the passenger side, and then the utility pole came down on the driver's side, trapping me in. But at that point, I was fine. I've recovered from all of those injuries. But then the vehicle caught fire, and we have had expert engineers review the wreckage. They've determined that that fire was in fact caused by a plastic reservoir that held the brake fluid in the engine, which is extremely flammable, and that reservoir broke, allowing the brake fluid to leak out and ignite the fire.
So let me ask you this then. Had you at any point before that accident received a recall letter or a call or anything talking about this plastic reservoir?
No, none whatsoever.
Okay, so this was a complete surprise to you.
Yes.
And how did you find qualified experts? Did these qualified experts work in the industry, work at GM or Chrysler or another automotive company?
Yeah, my attorney had contacted, I believe, engineers who had worked for Chrysler in the past.
And that's interesting. So they had worked for Chrysler in the past. Okay, Chrysler came forward with pretty much a generic comment here about your case, Jeremy. It said that Chrysler is always saddened when someone is injured in a vehicle. Just because someone is injured does not mean a vehicle is defective. All of our vehicles meet or exceed federal safety standards and have excellent safety records. We stand behind them. We do not think the media is the appropriate place for us to discuss the nature and cause of a liability claim. Do you feel that your vehicle was up to par, was up to standards, and was safe for you to be driving?
No. In fact, we know that several years before my vehicle was even designed, that they had used a metal reservoir for the brake fluid in the Jeep Wranglers. So presumably they made a decision to switch to plastic to cut costs.
Interesting. And how long have you been dealing with this lawsuit?
Well, the accident was over 3.5 years ago. The lawsuit was filed about 2 years ago. And we were actually supposed to be in mediation on May 5th, but of course Chrysler declared bankruptcy on April 30th.
What do you ultimately want, Jeremy?
Ultimately, what I want is for Chrysler, the new Chrysler, to be held accountable for people who have been injured by the vehicles that were sold before this bankruptcy. That's the scary thing, is that it's not just my case that has been thrown out or swept under the rug. It's anybody who is injured in any vehicle that is currently on the road today by a defective product will have no recourse, no opportunity to hold Chrysler or GM, for that matter, accountable.
Jeremy Warriner, we will definitely follow this case. Really appreciate you sharing your story with me.
Thank you.
Well, let's talk about Jeremy's chances of getting a day in court now, or at least a day with a mediator. Like he said, he was about to have that. We're going to push it forward with our senior legal analyst, Jeffrey Toobin, right on the other side of the break.